It's a new year and a new chance for you to make a fresh start with your compliance. For the next 31 days on the FCPA Compliance Report, we're going to be bringing you a daily tip, strategy, or idea that you can use to improve your program. Here's your host, Tom Fox, the Compliance Evangelist.
The business rationale. The 2020 update stated, prosecutors should also assess whether the company knows the business rationale for needing the third party in the transaction and the risk posed by the third-party partners, including the partners' reputations and relationships, if any, with foreign officials. This standard articulates one of the most basic tools to operationalize your compliance program and should form the basis of your third-party risk management process. Indeed, this is viewed as an internal control, with the 2020 update going on to pose the following question: how does the company ensure that there is an appropriate business rationale for the use of the third party? It is common sense that you should have a business rationale to hire or use a third party. If that third party is in the sales chain of your international business units, it is important to understand why you need to have that specific third party representing your company. This concept is enshrined in the 2012 FCPA guidance, which stated companies should have an understanding of the business rationale of the third party involved in the transaction. Among other things, the company should understand the role of and the need for the third party and ensure that the contract terms specifically describe the services to be performed. The Internal Revenue Service also considers business rationale to be an important part of any best practices anti-corruption compliance program. The lack of a business rationale is a red flag. Moreover, the IRS views such lack of a business rationale as possible indicia of the corruption. With the DOJ, the SEC, and the IRS all noting the importance of a business rationale, it is clear it is something you should use to operationalize your compliance program. But the business rationale also provides your company with the opportunity to help drive compliance into the everyday fabric of your operations. This is done by requiring the employee prepares the business rationale to be the relationship manager of that third party. The relationship manager can provide the most direct means of communication to the third party and can be the point of contact for compliance issues. Tyco International took this approach in its 7-step process for third-party qualification, which included business rationale. The business sponsor should then articulate a commercial reason to initiate or continue to work with the third party. You need to determine how this third party will fit into your company's value chain and whether they will become a strategic partner or they will be involved in a one-off only transaction. What should go into your business rationale? At the most basic level, you should craft a document that works for both you as a compliance professional and the business folks in your company. That details some basic concepts, including the following: the name and contact information for both the relationship manager and the proposed third party, how the relationship manager came to know about the third party, because it is a red flag if the customer or government representative points you to a specific third party. 3, what services will the third party perform for your company, the length of time and compensation rate for the third party. And 4, an explanation of why this specific third party should be used as opposed to any other third party if such were considered. All this information should be documented and then signed by the relationship manager. Another way to think about this issue is by considering the competence of a foreign business partner to provide services to your organization. Such considerations include a review of the qualifications of the third party, the resources to perform the services for which they have been considered, and the third party's expected activities for your company. More detailed inquiries include requiring the relevant business unit which desires to obtain the services of a third party to provide you with a business rationale, including current opportunities in the territory, how the candidate was identified, and why no current existing third-party relationship can provide the requested services. Your next inquiry should focus on the terms of the engagement, including the commission rate, the term of the agreement, what territory may be covered by the agreement, and if such relationship will be exclusive. Remember, the purpose of the business rationale is to document the satisfactoriness of the business case to retain a third party. The business rationale should be included in the compliance review file assembled on every third party at the time of the initial certification, and again if the third party relationship is reviewed. This, of course, means. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, business rationale. You should always have a business reason for using a third party, which is articulated by your business folks, and not a compliance reason to use this third party articulated by your compliance folks. You need a business reason to use a business third party. It's as basic business common sense as it gets, yet many executives or business men or women object to this requirement. It's just common sense. And if the IRS says it's a reason to do it, that alone is enough of a reason, but it's got to be a business reason articulated by the business people for a business relationship. Otherwise, you don't need to be contracting, and indeed you should not be contracting with this proposed third party. 2, relationship manager. A relationship manager is the key going forward in operationalizing your compliance program through the life of the third party relationship with your company. And number 3, that we will continue to talk about throughout this podcast series, document everything, document the business rationale, all of the reasons, and keep that documentation available for review if needed. If I could ask you to do, would you pass on to at least one person this podcast series on the nuts and bolts of compliance, as I'm trying to expand my audience base for 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance program. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow, where I take up another topic in innovation in compliance. Thanks again for listening. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance program is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.